Hi everyone, welcome back to this recap of Wednesday Evening ESOL Week 8. This took place on the 17th of June. So this week we were looking at modal verbs. A modal verb is a special type of verb that changes the meaning of other verbs in a sentence. Today we looked at 6 modal verbs that described obligation and permission. Obligation means that you need to do something. It's not optional. And we use the modal verbs must and have to. If there is no obligation and you can choose to do something, it's optional, we use the modal verb don't have to. If you have permission, you are allowed to do something, and you can use the modal verb you can. However, if something is prohibited and you are not allowed to do it, you use the modal verbs mustn't and can't. We looked at these examples. You must wear a face mask. This is obligatory. You have to do it. There is no option. It is a rule. You can't smoke. You mustn't smoke. This is a prohibited activity. It is not allowed. You don't have permission. You can take photos. You have permission to do this. It is allowed. You don't have to wear shoes. This is optional, so you can choose. You can wear shoes or you don't have to wear shoes. We watched a video which gave more information and then looked at different examples of modal verbs for jobs. In this exercise, students had to complete the sentences using the phrases at the bottom of the slide. Then we completed a text with a number of modal verbs. Then we used modal verbs to talk about what we can and what we can't do during lockdown. Examples of things that we must do that are an obligation are: we must wash our hands regularly. We must wear a face mask on public transport. We must respect distance between people. We also looked at things that we can't do. These are activities that are prohibited or forbidden. So we can't travel outside the country. We can't throw a party with lots of people. But we can meet with other people in the park. This is allowed if there's distance. We can visit one family member. We can exercise. We did a listening activity to practice the modal verbs further, and I've sent you this activity in the email. Finally, we talked about renting in the UK. So everybody discussed their experiences of renting and what they were allowed and not allowed to do. So what you can and what you can't do when you're renting in the UK. We looked at important vocabulary and information that you might receive from a landlord. Thanks everyone. See you next week.